Hello and welcome to the Dressing Gown Diary. This is a review show of round one of the 2016 Six Nations and a preview show of round two. An awful lot happened at the weekend. This was the tightest first weekend for a long time. Just to put it in perspective, this weekend there were 8 points between the six teams. In 2015 there were 35. In 2014 there were 32. In 13, 33. In 12, 27. In 11, 22. You just get the idea then of how close this was. Clearly a draw makes a massive difference. But we started kick things off in Paris, where France opened up, looked good until they got to the latter stages of the game and tightened up. And if it wasn't for Sergio Parisi, well, I mean, it wasn't a great effort at drop goal, really, was it? But the quote of the weekend, there are two big contenders, but one of them comes from Johnny Wilkinson, where they were discussing on the Sunday game of whether how he thought Sergio Parisi's drop goal attempt was, and he said, "Well, actually, I've quite enjoyed it. I've dedicated my life to hitting drop goals, and if Sergio Parisi had got one, it would mean my life wasn't really worth much." Quite a nice touch, that one. So France were expansive, then they got tight, Italy got close, its usual form, and then the next game up at Murrayfield, what do we see here? Well, let's talk about a Scottish team. Since 2011, they have played 26 games and they've only won 4 times. They can't get across the whitewash against England. They haven't won the first game in God knows how long. Let's put it in perspective. Over that same time period, Italy have won 5 times. So Scotland are currently statistically worse than Italy. I mean, where'd you go with that? England, start of a new regime, but what did we see? Pretty much the same stuff from England. Flattering to deceive, unable to cross the gain line. Yes, they scored a well-executed try in the end, but there was an awful lot of huffing and puffing and not really going anywhere. The forwards perhaps were a little stronger than they were, a bit more aggressive. But all the talk about Rob Shaw moving on to number 6 and then playing Haskell, a blindside flanker, at open side. Is there any difference between playing Rob Shaw there or Haskell? It hasn't really changed anything. Surely Eddie Jones will argue for more time, but we'll see. The real game of the weekend, though, took place in Dublin as two teams went hammer and tongs. Jamie Roberts back to his ferocious best. There were some monumental hits in there. The fact that Ireland went 13-0 up, Wales managed to find their way back into the game with a superb finish from Toby Faletau. He had no right to get to the line there, but somehow he stretched, spun, got the ball over for a very, very well-worked and well-deserved try in the end. Wales have a habit of starting very slowly in the Six Nations Championship, and this continued against Ireland. They will fret at why they went 13 down, but they did give themselves opportunities to win the game late on, certainly by taking the lead and then fortunately conceding a late penalty. That was, of course, Freddie's flutter, so it wasn't a winner, but I was mighty close. Now, how do these results affect the game? There were no surprises really with France beating Italy. It wasn't a great shot to see England win at Murrayfield. But the draw has really opened up the championship, and I'll tell you why. Now, Ireland and Wales back themselves to still win this championship, but they know they're going to have to score points. Last time around in 2015, we had the epic final day where all the teams knew they had to score a lot of points. But that was only on the final day, and it was set on its course by an amazing Welsh performance with George North hitting a hat-trick of tries. He doesn't seem to know where the try line is these days, but that's another question. So I still think this gives an opportunity of the Six Nations this weekend, because we're going to see France-Ireland is going to be probably a tight affair, but Wales-Scotland, Wales will know they have an opportunity to pile the points on, which puts pressure on the other teams early on in the championship. There are no easy games in this Six Nations, but certainly when you've got the opportunity to play Scotland at home, who've just come off a bad loss against England, you really have got opportunities to pile the points on. It'll put pressure under England, who play in Rome the day after, who will also fancy their opportunities to win the title. I mean, they're still clearly on for a Grand Slam. So what can we look forward to at the weekend? As I said, if we look at the France-Ireland game, Ireland have made some changes. They've got O'Brien back and Rob Kearney. Those certainly strengthen the Irish cause for mine. France have made 6 changes. I do fancy Ireland to win, and that is Freddie's flutter for the weekend. Is back Ireland, which you can get about even. You can just get over just over even money. It's certainly worth a look at. Wales, Scotland, as I said, I fancy Wales to pile points on, and if they do, it'll put pressure under England to be a bit more expansive and go for it. But be interesting to see whether Eddie Jones has made changes to the England team. It's not been announced by the time the Dressing Gown Diary is reporting to you, so we'll see what happens. But certainly, he will be wanting to see a bit more of a running, flair-type play. Well, look, this is the Dressing Gown Diary. It's over and out. Do watch your 6 halves of rugby. Enjoy it all, and we'll have a chat on Sunday. Thanks very much.